Beloved, can we be honest for a moment? A lot of us have been LARPing, watching all the YouTube videos of the high-speed operator guys and looking at the equipment that they use and basically copying this, putting together these amazing kits and finding out that this is completely inappropriate and something that I haven't drug out of my closet for 18 months now. Now, there's nothing wrong with LARPing. That's how we learn. We learn by doing. You know, we don't all have that experience. We learn from that hard-fought experience of men that have bled and died and figured out what works and what doesn't work. Now, what is working in I guess, what do they call it? A kinetic environment when you're working with small units and team tactics with well-trained, motivated, very fit guys in combat situations. This is what the kit that they're sharing with us, this is what's worked for them. But that's not you, and that's certainly not me. I'm not that fit. I don't have a lot of friends. I might have to be an army of one. I don't have a lot of training, and I'm not as young as I used to be. I conceal carry, but the world is changing to a point now where I'm not comfortable with just that. I want to up-armor my EDC, so to speak. I want to have more capabilities, and what that means for me and a lot of you guys is now long gun. Long gun is becoming standard carry, and that poses a whole different set of problems for concealment and the situations that we run into. What a lot of us have here, first off, I don't want to come off here like I'm this all-knowing dude. We learn by doing. The good book says iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And that's always been the philosophy here. We talk and have discussions, and we share these videos from those of us back in the day that learned from how to put first aid kits together from Nut and Fancy to on and on. We've learned so much together, and we talk and we share these things so that we can find solutions to real world problems. And a lot of us are having real world problems. The world is changing. It's getting more dangerous. So I think for a lot of us here, where we're at now is, maybe we're carrying something like this, like a FUPA, where we've got a full size rather than compact. Maybe we'll want to run a light. I do. Extra magazine, just a few things, maybe even a small tourniquet or an IFAK. But how do you get from here to our whole high-speed gear? Yeah, this stuff is cool. And there may be a time where it becomes very important. But really, to be honest, night vision, are you going to roll with that in your car? Are you going to carry this into a restaurant with your family in a duffel bag or a backpack? Or are you going to put a $15,000, $18,000 investment, you're going to leave that in your truck protected by a piece of glass? So where is it? It's at home. So, do we need to be, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that there's not a need, and that's not an incredible capability, but let's find something that bridges this gap that's practical. Just our full-on gear. This is my full-on, would be all my heavy-duty gear. Gas mask, bino night vision, helmet, comm system, war belt, safari land stuff, holsters, armored ceramic plates, all that stuff. But this is a lot of weight, man, and this is a lot of gear, and it's too expensive. To be honest, it's far too expensive to be leaving in a vehicle unguarded. So that's something that I think dudes should have. But where does that bring us today? Well, I've been convalescing, a head cold, or it came through the family and laid me low this weekend. So I had a lot of time to think about this and watched a lot of videos, and we learned that way. I came across, probably a year ago or so, a channel that I really enjoy. I'm going to recommend it to you. I think it's called Dirty Civilians. They're doing some really nice work, and their videography is beautiful. But they're discussing this. They're discussing real-world issues, and I watched several of their videos, and that got me thinking. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to put together something that's going to be that I could have by the nightstand, that's going to be my bedtime protector, as well as if I need to, I can grab it and go into the truck or car with it. In worst case scenario, and I'm not saying this is practical, but if you needed to, you could shoulder it, the duffel, not so big that you couldn't bring it with you into an office, a job, or even a restaurant if situation, was okay. You see what I'm saying? So that is what has brought us right here. This is the gap bridging, you're like a FUPA carry, your SOE FUPA versus your full on, we're going, we're calling our buddies and, it's time to go. We're an army of one person. We may be just trying to get home from work. My thoughts of what I'm willing to do and how far I'm willing to go have very much changed and evolved over the last 3 years or so. I'm not interested in, nor do I have the ability to go be a one-man hero. Let's say I've got a long gun in the car. Let's say I've got plates. Let's say I've got, some extra magazines and things. Let's say something goes off, and am I going to run to my car and put all this stuff on and then run back there by myself, an army of one, about the same time that the police are going to be showing up? And the biggest threat's not going to be whoever it is that's acting up. The biggest threat, what I would be concerned about, would be getting, ended by them. And I can't blame them. Dude shows up, all gung-ho, and he's waving stuff around and running. What do they know, right? I'm not putting myself in that situation. My priority is to get home. That's all that I'm interested in. I don't have any ego. I don't have any dog in this fight. It is not my responsibility to take care of random people. I don't have the skill. I don't have the backup behind me. And more importantly is I don't have the protection of the local government, most likely. I'm going to put myself at severe financial risk and my freedom, perhaps, by intervening. It's sad to say, chivalry is dead. People have been, saying that a lot lately, but it's because we can't be chivalrous. We want to be, but we can't. There's too much to risk. So our intention is to get home. So the kit, you got to start off. So if you're not comfortable with just concealed carry with just a pistol, and you want to, go up, you got to decide what it is you're going to use. These PDWs, personal defensive weapons, these are very popular now in the handgun calibers. I see them. The Warband is working with those as well. You know what? I'm done spending money on this stuff, following trends and such. We have to make do with what we have. And that's what my principle is here. I'm not looking at trying to go buy something. What do I have at my disposal? What can I modify and change to make it work for what I need to do? And I need something to bridge that gap between full-on kit and a small, maybe just a concealed carry. So, I don't think, try not to go out and buy anything if you don't have to. I really, really rethought my Mark 18. This had been built out to a point where it was up, close to 9 pounds. And what I found was I detested it because it was so heavy. I'm not taking it with me. I'm not carrying it with me in the quad. I'm definitely not bringing it in the truck. One, it's got so much stuff on it, it's too valuable to me. I mean, if someone takes that and I've got a maul on there, that's $3,000 gone, not to mention everything else. And it's hard to enjoy your supper when you have that, in the car with that, that type of money. But I don't want to have. So what I did was I rethought the whole principle, and I went back to the very basics of what this was supposed to be, and it's light and fast. 10.3-inch barrel. This is going to be the shortest AR platform that you probably want to fool with, unless you're going to get into 300 blackout. And that's a whole other thing I don't know anything about. I'm sure it's fine. But I don't have one. This is what I have. So I stripped it all back down to very simple, got it down to very small and light, very compact. Took the law folder off there. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze on that. It was just heavy, complex, non-battle proven parts, et cetera, et cetera. I never was comfortable with it, got rid of it. Just went back to basics. T2 on a Geisley, or not a Geisley, this is a Unity, but it's got a built-in sight. So I don't have to have a rear sight. I have a dual sight system here. I've got the T2 red dot, and I've got, KAC flip-up fronts, about the lightest low-profile ones you can buy, and the integrated sight. So I do have backup irons, good ones too. And so that takes care of that. And a simple flashlight. I had all the fancy Arasaka mounts and the cants and the buttons, and the heck with all that stuff. I want simple. Why I feel like I am in a position that I could share, like I can be teaching this, is not because I have combat experience. I do not. What I do have is a lot of experience with wildland firefighting, structural firefighting in a high stress environment, working with people and working with a lot of equipment. And what I've found, I've always been an equipment guy. I spend in my pastime is sitting down, working, organizing stuff. I enjoy doing that, I very much so. But what I learned is when you get in the heat of the moment, when you're on a wildland fire and things are going bad and your life is at risk, all of that fancy stuff just all goes out the window and you just go to what works. And what works in wildland firefighting and the way our packs are designed the way that they are is just places to put stuff. Just give me something to stuff stuff in, or a bag or a bucket that I can carry. I'm not interested in fiddly pouches and complicated systems. We have a lot going on right now. I can't be fooling around with technical gear. I got to have something that's just simple. Make it simple, make it work. Principle. So I've learned that. So I've learned to work and manage with a lot of equipment with firefighting and those two disciplines, and having it ready and accessible so you can use it, what you need, what you don't need. I've been on a lead medic on a fire engine. I've worked a lot of traumas. I understand the same principle goes with that and laying out kits. So I have that experience that I think can be brought to bear on this. So just to get that out of the way. So when you're looking at your bag or your system of carry, whatever it is, start with what you have. The smallest you have. If you don't have something that's going to have a short barrel and you just got a 16-inch, just take it apart. It's okay. It's just the 2 pins. Just practice it and understand how it works, and you can cut it down to shorter than this and get it in a duffel like this. So very simple. Also, just having a detachable light. I just put the factory Surefire Scout mount back on there. Now it gives me an option. I can even take this off if I want to make it even slicker. If I know daytime I'm not going to need this, I'll pull some weight off of it. Or let's say I just need a handheld. I don't want tools. I don't want any tools that I have to carry, or, I would never be able to take my lights off before with those Aerosocket mounts without having a tool if I needed to change something up for who knows what reason, right? Options, options, options. So that's where we're starting. Simple, light, I'm going to carry it. It gives me the fizz. In this bag, I don't know that I would keep it in here, but I think I'll just mention this, some non-lethal options. And this is just in a little SOE mesh bag here. 3 things. A big bear spray. I know you get the 9.6 ounce. I know it's not as powerful as what the cops have, but it works, and it's got good distance. Bear spray, a baton. I'm not going to take it out. I have to smash it on the floor. But this can break glass. It's a tool and very intimidating. And these stun guns right here, right? And these are, would you want to come after a guy with, those are scary. Ooh, scared me right there. $20 right there. Think about your pouches. The guys over at John sent me these nice pouches, little generic pouches. Yeah, it's not specific for any one thing, but it's got a belt loop on it, or it'll open up and you could Velcro it on something. You could throw this on your hip. You can put a magazine or 2 in here. Options. It just gives you options to mix things around. You could put your bear spray in there if you had to, right? Stick it on there. So a non-lethal option put together in one place, just something to think about. We're kind of figuring this out as we go. I want to be, what they say, covert. I don't want to look tactical in this kit. So how do you, it's winter time, how do you cover plates up, armor and stuff without someone seeing it? These big construction style vests, photographers use them, just something with some big pockets in it. I got this, it's oversized, one size bigger, and these big pockets, I can throw magazines, I can throw a med kit in here, I could put a bottle of water in there, just 2 big utility pockets. I got a pair of gloves in there and a balaclava. Think about your being, hiding your face. There's cameras everywhere now, and these, something can happen and you get away, well, who knows what, and, if your plate's on there, you might not want that. That's all I'm saying. So, and I've got my, what do you call it? Goodness, sling. So I don't forget it. But I'm going to throw that on over top. We can try it on here. This is not a lot of stuff. Now, I've come to, the warband and I were having this conversation just this morning. Hearing protection. I grew up old school. We never wore hearing protection. We never hunted with it. Goodness, it just makes me cringe. Shot thousands and thousands around. Never ever had hearing protection. That was for wimps. You know, just a different generation. Hearing protection is critical. I think these two almost need to go together. Think of it as like having a magazine, because these short barrels inside of a car. Have you ever heard of Mark 18 go off inside of a house, shoot house, or under a roof or a car? I mean, it destroys you. It destroys you. So having these is a priority. When I have this in the nightstand or on the nightstand, this something or equivalent is with it. And I like these. These are not the high-speed ones. I've got the high-speed ones on my main helmet, you know, but these are just Impact. They're affordable, Impact Sports, and they're they're enhanced. So they're digital. So they're passive. So you can hear, but if there's a loud bang, then they close off. They're not the best, but it's what a lot of guys have, and I think it's worth keeping them. And this is the little SOE case. Cases are important, because it helps you keep systems together. And there's a slot there for batteries. These eat batteries, so just make sure you always have extra batteries for your stuff. You know, figure it out. If you can keep the batteries with the item, it makes it easier. So this with Mark 18, you know, they're together, always together, within reach for sure. And that leads us to the final item. You know, is it realistic? Are you going to wear body armor? Apart from, the whole world is collapsing, you're running around, whatever. But in your day-to-day life, do you want that? And a lot of guys are saying yes, and I know that I do as well, but I can't deal with a full plate carrier. I can't hide it. I can't, but the coat that I'd have to put over to hide all that, with all the magazines and stuff, it's going to be huge. It's going to be very noticeable. I'm not trying to be invisible. I'm just trying to get home. I just want to get home. I don't want to get involved in this. I'm going to avoid these situations, but this is in a position where I can't get out of it. And I want to have options. I don't want to rely upon someone to take care of me. So armor. How small and lightweight can you make a plate carrier? That really was my goal. This is the Spiritus Covert. It's essentially very small pieces of fabric, bags for 2 Hesco ceramic plates. This will stop 5.56 and 7.62. Very lightweight, military grade plates, but very little to it. No molly, none of this stuff. So this is how I set this up. Also, the cummerbund straps are important. If we're talking about something that's got to be versatile, especially in wintertime, are we going to wear under a coat or do we need to throw it over a coat? Who knows? But to be able to have options, so make sure that your plate carrier has an adjustable type of cummerbund system, that you can adjust thick or thin. That can be a problem. If you're running those tubes and you've got that set for your summertime, you're not going to put that on over a Filson cruiser jacket. You're not going to get it done. And to undo it, is a process. We want it to be fast and lots of options. So these, super basic, and I'm not saying that this is the only one you should have. Just try to adapt what you have if you can. If you're not using it, and it's all kitted out for war, then it's okay to maybe back off some of that stuff. You're not losing it. Just put it away for another time. You can always upgrade it. But for now, at least get the stuff into your rotation so you can start using it. So this gives me options here, and look how light, thin they are. Just a 1-inch webbing, and no bulk, no bulk. I'll put this on here without destroying my microphone. But I think it's important to see, and this is just a principle. This is what I put together and what I would want to have by the nightstand. Where's my, can you see it? Yeah, it's hanging there. See, practice. Let me get this on without ruining that microphone. Yeah, I stuck that on there in the bag. See, so things don't work. Okay. I don't know how it would be possible to really get much of a lower profile body armor system than this, having rifle plates in here. So I thought, okay, what is it that I need? Well, I need a pouch. I need a pouch that could carry, maybe it carries magazine, maybe it carries a bear spray, pistol magazines, AR magazine, who knows what, but something. And this is SOE. This is just a generic pouch right there with Velcro on the back. Now the Spiritus has all that Velcro, so it gives you a lot of different options. So I got to looking at that and I thought, well, that's very handy, because not only if I needed an extra magazine, I could just open this bag, I could rip this thing off and even put it, on your FUPA. If you got to go like, what was that 24 series? You got to go Jack Bauer. He's running around, saving the world with a courier bag, a sling bag like this. I'm just saying that you can have some options to set up your kit quickly, and you're not all locked down to stuff. That was kind of what I was thinking. I could throw this in my pocket. I could put lots of stuff in there. But, this is, let's say I don't want it on here. Let's say I need to go super, super low profile. Now I'm pulling the stuff off here, I've got no problems. Am I over the beach? Am I a Navy SEAL? I'm not. Do I need to have everything all lanyarded down? I don't. This is going to be just fine. Magazine pouches. SOE. Yeah, I'm a fan. He's got these. With the microphone, sorry. He's got these scuba webbing. Look at the backing, rigid. Very versatile. I can put a flashlight in there. I can throw a couple pistol mags in there. I got another loop, just something I had off of my Unity belt. Just has just a piece of Velcro with a loop in it. There's a tourniquet, comes out from both sides. I could take that, I could slap that on my FUPA. You see where I'm going here? One thing that I watched a lot of, I'm really interested in watching how guys set up their kit that have been in combat and hostage rescue and such. And one thing that comes up and a lot of guys talk about is have a way, like handcuffs essentially, have a way, but I'm not carrying handcuffs and I don't have a bunch of those big fancy zip ties. This is fiber tape. This is one of the most useful things in the world that we use on wildland firefighting. I learned about this from a smoke jumper. He said you can fix anything with fiber tape. It's got fiberglass reinforcing strands in it, and it's super, super, you can't tear it. It's really, really tough. Great for restraints, great for fixing things. And this is just one I took out of my wildland pack, and I thought, well, flex cuffs, handcuffs, I don't want any of that. I don't want to ever have to do that. But if I'm in a situation where I need to get away, I can't have someone following, who knows what. But to be able to tape it up would be nice. The final thing is, now these systems, the vest, let me show you. So let's say I need to be very discreet. Traffic jam, I've got to get out of my car, things are going down, I find myself in the middle of a riot, I'm on foot. Do I want to look like this? I absolutely do not. Maybe, there could be a situation, but I can't see what that would be when you're by yourself. This is where I like the big vest. Don't get hunter orange or anything like that. Just get something tan or blue, whatever. Now these vests, it's going to be difficult. I'm not saying it's going to be great, but if I were to rip these guys off here and put them into my duffel, which can be worn like a backpack through the hands, but you see what I'm saying right here. Just humor me. I've got full medical kits in here and everything. Let's trim it down a little bit. It's hard to hide rifle plates, gentlemen, but if it's raining, if it's winter time, there's a bunch of stuff going on. If a dude has got a duffel bag, you've got a long gun in there or whatever, maybe you even got it in your hands. I'm just saying that, dude could blend in somewhat. What I have in those big pockets is a balaclava. I have a balaclava to keep your identity private, a pair of leather gloves, and I put my sling in there. I don't want to forget that. And I don't want to have it mounted to the rifle because it's just a hassle. I carry it with me most of the day. The final thing is, and this may or may not be a bad idea, is, your secondary is going to be in, how I'm carrying it right here. Right, so it would be very nice to have it on a holster on the side. So if you are using the Safari Land system, I forget the name of it, but this is a good system because if you have multiple different calibers and such, and you can hook it onto your belt, they're all on these forks. They have an option for a paddle. So we ordered in the warband, we've all done this, I believe. I think all the guys have done it, is a paddle option. Now you can use this holster. Now we can come out of however you're carrying, with a light, and now we can go right on whatever we're wearing with that paddle style. Just flex that out, and now you have, I'm not going to say you have a battle belt or anything, but you do have an ability to have much more accessible secondary or your sidearm, as well as a long gun, all in a duffel bag that's you can kind of hide. Now, if you want to just keep this in the duffel bag, in the plate, you can walk along. It's not so heavy that most guys couldn't handle it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, the concept. I think you guys get it. Trying to bridge a gap, trying to make it, how do we incorporate this next level of abilities and options into day-to-day life, or when, maybe not day-to-day, but when we have to put ourselves in a higher risk situation, which means getting into an urban environment. I've also, something we'll do a second video on this though, is particularly uniform, camouflage, is that suitable for Proho to be running around? You live in the suburbs, we need to talk about that, and as we're moving into winter, make an adjustment for that. So that's a whole nother video and thought process that we can go into. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that, and we can delve into that. But I've put a lot of thought into that as well, because that's a critical component. Your footwear is a critical component. Many things, where you live, your climate, and dealing with that. I'm never cold and wet. Why? I live in the Pacific Northwest. I should be cold and wet all winter because I know how to dress. And I know I have the equipment, tools, I know how to use them so that I'm not uncomfortable. Why should I be uncomfortable? I have the ability to control that. All right, chime in on the comments, let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. And may God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.